Imagine two neighbors. They earn almost exactly the same salary. They drive to work on the same roads. They shop at the same grocery store. They even park next to each other every morning. 10 years later, one has built a healthy investment portfolio, has financial flexibility, and can comfortably handle unexpected expenses. The other is constantly replacing vehicles, refinancing loans, and wondering why saving always feels impossible. The surprising part? Neither of them made one catastrophic financial mistake. Instead, they made dozens of small decisions that seemed completely reasonable at the time. And one of the biggest differences was how they thought about their car. Because buying versus renting isn't really about transportation, it's about how we think about money, ownership, status, and future opportunities. Today, we're going to explore why this decision is far more psychological than most people realize, and why the smartest answer isn't the same for everyone. A refrigerator is just an appliance. A washing machine is just a machine. But a car often becomes part of our identity. Before anyone knows your profession, your education, or your financial goals, they may see the car you drive. That first impression happens in seconds. Psychologists have long studied how people use possessions to express identity. We often buy products not only for what they do, but for what they say about us. This helps explain why people sometimes stretch their budgets for features they rarely use. Leather seats that stay covered most of the year, advanced sound systems that play the same 3 podcasts, or performance packages that never see an open road. The decision isn't only practical, it's emotional, and emotions are expensive when they're disguised as logic. One phrase gets repeated constantly: renting is throwing money away. At first, it sounds convincing. After all, when you buy a car, you own something. When you rent one, you don't. But ownership alone doesn't automatically create wealth. Unlike many homes or productive businesses, most cars lose value over time. According to sources like Kelley Blue Book and Consumer Reports, depreciation is often one of the largest single costs of vehicle ownership, sometimes larger than fuel or even insurance over the life of the car. So while buying may still be the better option in many situations, it's important to recognize that ownership and investment are not the same thing. The real comparison isn't, do I own it? The comparison is, what does it cost me over the years? And what do I get in return? That subtle shift changes everything. Here's a mental model. Imagine buying a tree. Everyone notices the price of the tree. Almost nobody notices the years spent watering it, pruning it, protecting it from storms, and dealing with the leaves it drops every autumn. Cars work the same way. The purchase price is only the beginning. Ownership also includes financing costs, insurance, maintenance, unexpected repairs, fuel, registration, taxes, parking, and the slow, steady drain of depreciation. Organizations like AAA regularly estimate that these ongoing costs can add up substantially each year, though the totals vary widely by vehicle, driving habits, and location. Meanwhile, renting or relying on car sharing may involve higher daily or monthly costs, but it removes many of those ownership responsibilities and the risk of a major repair bill appearing at the worst possible moment. The important question isn't which bill is bigger today, it's which system costs less and creates more options for your specific lifestyle. Behavioral economists describe something called the endowment effect. People tend to value something more simply because they own it. Once a car becomes my car, it becomes harder to judge decisions objectively. We justify expensive repairs long after they stop making financial sense. We overlook how much value has already disappeared. We become emotionally attached to an asset that is quietly losing money every month. Ownership changes perception. Sometimes for the better when it motivates careful maintenance, sometimes for the worse when it locks us into decisions we would never make if we were starting fresh today. Recognizing this bias helps us make clearer decisions. Now imagine 4 very different people. A college graduate starting a first job in a city with decent transit and occasional weekend trips. A family with 3 children, school drop-offs, sports practices, and grocery runs every week. Someone living in a dense urban neighborhood where parking is expensive and public transportation is reliable. A consultant who drives thousands of miles every month for work. Would the same answer fit all 4? Probably not. For the frequent driver, ownership can spread fixed costs over many miles and deliver real convenience and predictability. For the city resident who only needs a car a few times a month, paying for a vehicle that sits parked most of the week is often the more expensive choice, especially once insurance, registration, and depreciation are included. The smartest decision depends on actual usage, not assumptions or what the neighbors are doing. Here's something fascinating. Many expensive purchases begin with one quiet sentence: I deserve it. Sometimes that's completely true. Sometimes it's simply our brain searching for permission. Behavioral research has shown that people often make financial decisions to reinforce identity or social belonging. A nicer car can bring genuine enjoyment and comfort. But if it's purchased primarily to impress others or to signal success, the satisfaction often fades faster than expected. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation, our tendency to quickly get used to improvements, making yesterday's luxury feel ordinary again. The new car smell disappears, the excitement settles, and the monthly payment remains. That doesn't mean buying a nice car is wrong. It means understanding why you're buying it matters just as much as what you're buying. Most buyers ask, "Can I afford the payment?" A more useful question is, "What opportunities does this decision create or remove?" Would a lower transportation cost allow you to build an emergency fund faster, invest more consistently each month, start a side business, take a calculated career risk because you finally have financial breathing room? Money isn't just for buying things, it's for buying options. And options, the ability to choose, to wait, to walk away, to start something new, are often more valuable than the possessions themselves. Buying can be an excellent decision when you plan to keep the car for many years. You drive regularly and predictably. The vehicle fits comfortably inside your overall budget, not just the monthly payment. You maintain it well. And you're not buying mainly for status or to keep up with anyone else. In these situations, ownership can provide convenience, predictability, and potentially lower long-term costs compared with constantly renting or relying on short-term solutions. Renting or using car sharing, subscriptions, and short-term rentals can also be the smarter choice when you drive infrequently. You live where public transportation or walking covers most of your needs. You only need a vehicle for specific trips or seasons. You value flexibility and hate the idea of unexpected repair bills. Or you simply don't want the ongoing responsibilities of maintenance, registration, and long-term ownership. There's also a middle ground that many people overlook, buying a reliable used car and keeping it for a long time, or choosing flexible, longer-term rental and subscription options that have emerged in recent years. The key insight remains the same: transportation needs vary widely, and so should the solution. Buying a car isn't automatically wise. Renting isn't automatically wasteful. The better choice depends on how you actually use the vehicle, how long you'll need it, what it truly costs over time, and what other opportunities your money could create instead. The most financially successful people often focus less on appearances and more on systems. They understand that wealth isn't built by one perfect decision. It's built by making thoughtful, consistent decisions over many years, especially the quiet ones that don't look dramatic at the time. So before asking, "Should I buy or rent a car?" ask a different question. Which choice gives my future self the most freedom? Because in the end, transportation gets you from one place to another. But your financial decisions determine how many places your life can actually go.